we're seeing a very interesting phenomenon here because now the people who like the Boys TV show are starting to feel the same way as the comic readers felt. I actually had the Boys comic a while back, and I ended up selling them. I literally did a video, this one right here, where I just threw my Boys comics against the wall, and then the next day I ended up selling them for a few bucks. But yeah. Now the people who only watch the show only, who never read the comics before, now know how comic now know how comic book readers felt. The Boys comic, it was one of the most disgusting books I've ever read. Overly pessimistic, vulgar for the sake of it, edgy for the sake of it. It actually had some pretty cool fights. I'm not gonna lie. It was definitely an interesting read when it wasn't being or when it wasn't doing gross out. Yeah, I'm someone with a strong stomach, and even then, there were some moments in the comic that made me gag. So yeah, that was a terrible comic. I'm glad I sold it. Glad I read it, but man, I could have just went onto one of those free comic piracy websites and just read it for free there. And also, it had some boring moments too, some filler moments, like that part where Huey goes back to Ireland or Scotland, wherever he's from in the comic. That stuff was so boring to read. And yeah, and now the people who watch the show with there's so many videos complaining about season 5, and it's funny because the first season of the Boys, people loved it, and now the show has gotten worse. Apparently, I don't know. I've never bothered watching the show, but it's an interesting phenomenon to watch from the side. And you know, I think Homelander is actually one of the most interesting supervillains ever. I mean, he's like Superman but evil. I mean, Omni Man did that first, but Omni Man ended up backpedaling on that. With Homelander, he's full 100% psycho or socio or whatever path he is, and it could be such an interesting ideal if if it was handled in better hands. And yeah, the Boys comic is the artist or the creator of the Boys comic, Garth Ennis, I believe that's his name. He hates superheroes for whatever reason. I understand why, because there's so many. Well, actually, yeah, except for whatever reason, but I understand why. There's a lot of superheroes comics, and there are plenty of comics out there that aren't superhero related, but it is the superhero comics that take up most of the space, and it's a shame, Like, for example, something like a Superman comic would get way more attention compared to something like Persepolis or Mouse, or there's a ton of slice of life comics I used to read in high school. But it's mostly just the superhero stuff. Another pessimistic comic that I do really like though would be The Watchmen over here. And yeah, yeah, I'm just gonna watch the Boys chaos from afar. It feels pretty nice not being a Boys fan. Although I was stupid enough to pay full price for the comic books, and yeah, but at least I read it to form an opinion, I guess. But oh well, I'm just gonna watch a better Superman or a superhero show.
But might I suggest you tune into the local news?